we will begin the practice with a focus on a card. If you choose to have a look, here it is. So obviously it's from the Ganesha card deck, and it's about surrender. Oftentimes, and when we see this picture here of Ganesha, we think about surrender and just doing plain nothing and just waiting to what is happening. That's not taking us anywhere, really. So I would love us to explore surrender from different angles, and maybe you're able to surrender to the practice this morning if that is going to happen for you. But please also notice that sometimes the mind does wander off when we practice, which is part of the process of surrendering to it. So the moment you notice, you're drawing yourself back in. If you need anything at all, it might be a block, but again, that is not essential, and we can always use other household items to go along with. So good morning to those that I haven't greeted yet. Welcome to the practice. I will change over my camera and we will begin. So beginning today in a standing position, and as I indicated already, a block might be useful. We've got a cat on my mat, that's not helpful. Do you want to go outside now? Maybe. So I open the door briefly for her. I would love you to just stand up on your mat, maybe towards the front of it, and lifting one foot after the other as we're going for a tiny little walk. If you like and you feel confident standing on one foot briefly, you could close the eyes to do so. And then just landing your feet. Noticing if you want to adjust them, and please do, so that you find a strong, steady stance. Maybe lifting all the 10 toes off the floor if that works for you. And then grounding them down, starting with the little toes. And maybe just for a brief moment, really gripping with the toes onto your mat or the floor underneath you. But then let go of that grip. And try and find a way to position the weight onto the two left and in and outer corner of the ball of the foot, as well as your center heel. Without engaging really strongly, just loosely notice how when you're placing the weight over the feet in this way, that the legs are slightly switching on. And I encourage you to lightly engage your buttocks muscles as well as your lower abdominal muscles, just lightly, and getting a sense of lightness in the upper body. If your eyes aren't closed, keep your gaze steady, straight ahead of you, so that we've got a more or less neutral yet straight line from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. The arms are still hanging there loosely. And if you like them like this, perfectly fine to keep them this way. If you would like to engage a bit more, just turn the palms of the hands forward. Keeping your fingers lightly engaged if you choose this option as well. Not really stretching out actively, just engaging into the fingers as well. Noticing that when you choose this position with the palms open, the shoulders quite naturally draw back a little. As you're allowing yourself to be there, begin to notice the contact to the floor under the feet and the connection to the crown of the head and the space that lies around it. Inviting you to acknowledge the breath. Noticing the quality of your breath as you're standing here. Where is it? How does it travel through the nostrils? Does it feel effortless? Begin to deepen your breath now. No particular pattern for your breathing. I would ask you to keep it in the pattern that feels natural for you, yet deepening the breath a bit. I will invite you to a count of breaths, counting the breaths to 4. We will leave it like this, maybe even through the practice today, providing us with a certain pace of breathing. So we're breathing into the count of 4 and out to the count of 4. We will still have a different lengths of breathing as we count differently and as our abilities to lengthen the breath are different. Holding of the breath as usual is completely optional, and please only use the hold or the breath retention if it actually nurtures you. If it puts strain on you, maybe shorten it or leave it out altogether. You can keep the eyes closed if they are. And on the next count of 4, on the inhalation, lifting the arms in that pace, out and up over the head. Maybe the palms are touching, and if you can hold here for a count of 4, please do. When you're exhaling then to a count of 4, draw the hands through the midline down in front of your heart space. We will repeat that a few times, breathing into a count of 4, reaching the arms out and up. An optional hold to the count of 4. And an exhalation to the count of 4 to bring the hands back in front of the heart. Keep going in your own pace now, breathing in for 4, optional hold for 4, and out for 4. Noticing if when you're breathing in and out, your breath feels even, or if there is a surge in the inhalation at the beginning and then you're slowing it down to the pace. See if you can find your breath during these movements quite balanced over this count of 4. Repeating the movement together with breath, potential retention in your breathing for another 2 rounds after your current one. And then allowing yourself to complete by returning back into the steadiness of mountain pose, which we established before we began. Noticing if anything has shifted or changed, and it could be as simple as it is a shift in your awareness. Maybe sensations are different in the limbs as we've been standing for a while. Maybe sensations are different in your arms. I will ask you now to just soften the knees a bit, to relax the arms, to give them a loose shake, a shrug into the shoulders. And then leave your breathing quite freely and just rock the arms around your waist, giving yourself a bit of movement. And if you like, you can also lift the heel or rest on the heel and lift the toes off the ground as you're twisting. You could take it a little bit higher, as in tapping to a shoulder. And maybe tapping onto the center point on your back. Releasing this movement slowly. I recommend to have a stance that is about hip distance apart, maybe even slightly further. Bending your knees and resting the palms of the hands on top of your thighs, allowing your fingers to point inward. That is for a deeper rounding as we're practicing a standing cat and cow posture. Again, bring your awareness to the feet. We do have a tendency to lean either forward or back. Center yourself, same as in mountain pose. You can apply a fair bit of pressure down into your thighs if that feels good. Now, come back to the count of 4 as you're breathing in to lift your tailbone, lift your chest, your throat and gaze. And as you're breathing out for a count of 4, drawing your tailbone under, rounding your back and lowering the head. On the inhalation, lifting your tailbone, counting to 4, opening through the front, the throat, the gaze. And when exhaling to 4, rounding your back. If you really like the breath retention, you can add that to the movement, as I will set you free to your own count and your own pace with that. I highly encourage you, though, to start moving from the tailbone. So when you're inhaling, lifting the tailbone first and then gradually open until the head lifts last. And the same on your exhalation as you draw your tailbone under, rounding your back, and then the last thing that's moving is the head. Please continue that for 3 more rounds. When you have completed these 3 rounds, please stay in the position that we're in. Find a more neutral spine though, but still using your hands on top of your thighs to support. As we breathe in for a count of 4, and on the out breath, also counting to 4, lower your right shoulder down and look over your left. Breathing in for 4 to center and neutralize your back. And when exhaling, repeat with the left shoulder dropping into the center, looking over your right. Repeating this simple movement in this slow count to 4 breaths, twice more in each direction. And I know we're working the legs again. Stick with me. It's also using the mobilization in the spine. I will ask you once you have completed, and please never feel rushed with these movements, to curl yourself slowly back into a mountain posture. To maybe rock over the feet, loosen up through the shoulder area as you're finding your stands again. And I do encourage you to stay with about hip distance for comfort. If you want to use a block or a supported piece of furniture for this forward fold, you could. I'd ask you to place that if you're using it in front. It's not necessary, and if you prefer not to, you can use your shins or thighs to rest the hands on. Let's take a breath into the count of 4 as you're opening your arms, your heart space. Then bend your knees as you're breathing out for 4 and rolling down into a soft forward bend. Placing your hands onto your support or your shins so the spine becomes long as we aim for this half lift position. What I'd ask you to do now is peel the toes again off the floor and rock the weight back into your heels. Keeping the spine long, grounding the toes and lifting the heels up off the ground. Knees can be bent here, belly and thighs coming a bit closer. Then lower the heels back down and lift the toes one more time. Repeating that only once as you're grounding your toes, lifting the heels off the floor, bending lightly into the knees, and then grounding the heels again. You can keep working with your support, or if you choose, your fingertips pressing against the shins or the thighs. Inhale, lengthening forward, waterfall movement. Breath out, soften down into a forward bend. Inhaling, waving the spine long for half lift or edge of the waterfall, and a breath out to let the water upper body fold forward. Inhaling as you're lengthening to the front and exhaling into your forward bend. Repeat the same movement for 2 more. It's a bit faster than our previous movement, perfectly fine as it is. And allowing yourself then to pause in the forward fold, to place your hands down and to walk your feet back into a downward facing dog. Notice if you need any movement here, as you might move into legs, hips, arms, neck. If you find a down dog is a little bit too strong for your practice today, you could change to all fours as we begin to twist. Bending both knees, pointing one down, one out towards the sides, and pushing your hips up and back. Inhale, center into down dog. Bend both knees, one down, one point out, stretching the hips up and back. Inhale for your down dog and exhaling for the twists. Again, there's no need to count to 4, a little bit too slow for this. Maybe it is a count to 2 if you do want to keep the counting going. When next time you're opening to your left, hold here. Your choice is to bring your right knee down and extend into side plank, or to extend both legs into side plank. Maybe you're looking up, maybe your arm extends over the head. Swing it back and down, lifting your hips up once more. You might have to adjust your feet in your stance. We will turn this to the other side. So now your left knee is down, your right knee is up. And the same option here. You want support, place the left knee down. Only extend the right as you're lifting the right arm. Or you could have both legs extended. Option to lift the gaze. And option to extend your arm overhead. Swinging your arm down and lifting the hips back as we adjust our downward facing dog. On the next inhalation, wave the spine forward and come into a plank or a kneeling plank. And on the out breath, lower all the way down onto the front of your body. Untuck your toes. Take a breath in on the floor. And as you're breathing out, create a wave of the upper body to lift for a cobra. You can keep your hands down or lift them off the floor, but keep your feet grounded, tops of the feet in contact with the mat. Stay here as you inhale, count to 4. And exhaling, count to 4. Repeat for one more breath, counting. Breathe in for another count of 4. And then as you're exhaling, releasing your head back down, relaxing the body briefly. Pushing yourself up onto all fours. Tuck your toes under, but still reach your buttocks back towards the heels, leaving the arms extended, big stretch into your body. On the next breath in, coming onto all fours, choice to stay here or out breath rolling up for downward dog. On the next breath in now, let's lift the right leg up. On the out breath, bring the knee forward, tuck the knee into the chest, maybe holding your breath briefly before stepping your foot forward in between your hands. Come up onto your fingertips and lengthen your spine. If you need some extra help, please bring your left knee to the mat. We will bend the knee. We will fly the arms out on a breath in. And as you're breathing out, bend the back knee, curl yourself up and bring your hands to your heart. Now this will be our movement. On a breath in, and you can count to 4 again if this length suits you. And on the out breath, bend the back knee, roll up through the spine, hands to the heart. Breathing in to extend the back leg, the arms and the spine. And an out breath where you're rolling up and hands return to the heart. Repeat in your pace 2 more. We will meet in our lunge. On a breath in now, let's circle the arms out and up, and you can stick with the count of 4 if that feels right. And on the out breath, lower your back heel and extend the arms for warrior 2. We will bend the back knee again, the inhale to 4 to lift the arms up over the head. And then if that works for you, exhale for 4 and twist in the other direction. Let's do that again. Bend the knee, breathing in for 4 to lift the arms. Out for 4 to warrior 2. In for 4 to come back to high lunge, heel off the ground. Out for 4 to twist. Let's go again, breathing in for 4 to lift. Breathing out for warrior 2. Inhaling for 4 to lift. Exhaling to twist. Hold the twist as you breathe in for another 4. And as you're breathing out, reaching your left hand down for a deeper twist in your lunge. Knee could come to the floor if required. Let's all bring the knee down, bring the hand down, step the foot back, and release into extended child's pose. On a breath in, come all the way along the mat onto the front of the body. Breathing out here. Inhaling again. On the exhalation, wave up your body for another cobra, which we will hold. And your choice, the same, hands on or off the mat, engaging down through the tops of the feet, shoulders relaxed and in their sockets. And you might already be back to counting your breaths. Noticing the differences in the length or the quality of your breath as we practice it in different movements and postures. With your next exhalation, releasing this pose. Lifting back up onto all fours, tucking the toes under, and once more reach your buttocks back to the heels, full arm extension. Returning in your pace and big waves to all fours or downward facing dog. On your next breath in, lifting your left leg up. On a breath out, bring the knee into the chest and pause it here. Keep it squeezing up. Stepping the foot forward between the hands. Let's soften the knee. Breathing in for 4 as you're flying the arms out to the sides. Bending the knee as you breathe out, roll up through the spine again for 4, hands coming to the heart. Same as on the other side, we continue. Inhaling for 4, extending your arms, spine and the back leg. Bending the knee, your out breath rolling up through the spine, returning to standing. Find your own pace here, repeat for 3 more. Keep the count of your breath to 4. Extension on the inhalation out into arms and back, and the curling of the spine on the exhalation. 2 more. We will meet in our high lunge with hands at the heart. We'll change the movement, but the breaths might be still to a count of 4. On a breath in, reaching the arms out and up. Lower the back heel for warrior two as you're exhaling. On the in-breath, lift the heel, arms reaching up, high lunge. If that works, twist to the other side on your out-breath. Let's do that again. Inhaling for 4, high lunge. Exhale for 4 and warrior 2. Inhaling for 4 to lift. Exhaling for 4 to twist. One more repetition in both directions. And as we're back to your personal pace, we will meet in a twisted high lunge. Breathing in for 4 within this twist. And breathing out to release the right hand, maybe also the right knee to the floor. Let's release the knee down and the hand down, stepping your foot back and retreating your hips to the heels for extended child's pose. On a breath in, curling forward, all fours, maybe toes tuck under, and out breath to down dog. Please skip down dogs if they feel too strong and return to all fours or remaining there. On a breath in, roll the spine forward, coming into a plank or a kneeling plank. And on your out breath, lower all the way down onto the front of your body, untucking the toes again. Now, if you felt the cobra is just what you need today, please stick with it. Otherwise, you could come a little bit further with me. We're still using an out breath to wave up, coming either into your cobra or into a pointed plank, where you're now also lifting the hips. So it's away from an up dog where the hips are low and the gaze is high. We're lifting the hips up, keeping the tops of the feet on the ground. We're putting a smile on. And then you could step over your toes or come over the knees if they're down on the floor into a downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath into the count of 4 and a potential hold for 4 before you're exhaling again for 4. I will ask you from this place then to walk your hands back to your feet. To allow the upper body to fold forward, and even if you have to bend your knees a lot. So we're always adjusting our postures depending on the needs of the body in the moment. Using your lower abdominal muscles and pelvic floor, and exhalation to roll up slowly into standing. Taking the shoulders back and arriving in mountain pose. I will ask you here to pause again, finding your solid stance over the 3 corners of your feet, inner outer side of the ball and the center of the heel, a slight activation into legs and buttocks, and maybe turning the palms forward. You could choose to close the eyes once more or steady your gaze straight ahead of you. Noticing the quality of your breath again. What is it like now? What other sensations are also present, maybe having an impact on your breathing? I will invite you to return to the breath and counting to 4 as you're lifting the arms out and up. Potential hold here. And exhalation to bring the hands through the midline into heart center. From here, inhale and open the arms out, still counting to 4. And as you're exhaling, bend both of your knees and give yourself a hug around your shoulders. Breathing in as we're straightening the legs, arms reaching back up over the head. On the exhalation to 4, bring the hands through the midline into the heart space. As you begin to open the arms out, count for 4 and bending the knees. Reverse the embrace of the shoulders with the other arm on top. We will change things again. As you breathe into 4, also lift your right knee up. On the out breath, bring the hands to the heart and extend the heel forward. As you're opening the arms, pointing through the toes. And as you're breathing out, step onto the ball of this foot. Give yourself an embrace around your shoulder and lift your back heel. That's a lot, isn't it? Let's lower both heels down. Take a breath in, lifting the arms back out and up for 4. Breathing out, bring the hands down to the heart, again for 4. As you lift back up onto your toes, opening the arms out. And we will simply step the feet parallel and release the arms down by the sides. On the in-breath, reaching the arms out and up, and the left knee is lifting at the same time. As the hands come to the heart, extend the leg out, the heel leading forward. Breathe in, open the arms and point the toes to the front. As you come to stand on the foot, the heels are lifting and you give yourself an embrace around your shoulders. On a breath in, lower both heels down, reach the arms out and up. On the out breath, bring the hands down to the heart space. Inhaling, come up onto your toes and extend the arms forward. Out, sorry. Landing with your feet parallel and your arms along the sides. And maybe you've made it to the top end of the mat, which would be great, if not adjusting yourself there. Let's keep with the count of 4 and lifting the arms up on the in-breath. On the out-breath, finding a chair pose, again, just counting here to 4. Breathing in to remain in the chair. Exhaling to twist your chair to your right. Hold here, breathing in for 4. And as you're breathing out, slide your left foot back into a deeper twisted lunge. Bending into the back knee. Let's count again to 4 as we're reaching the arms out and up. Come back to warrior 2 as you release your heel to the mat. Breathing in to open the palms and breathing out as you might bring your forearm down or extend your right hand fingertips for side angle pose. Stay here and observe if you're still able to breathe to this count of 4. As you inhale, bend your back knee and swing your arm down. Bring the hands into a prayer and rest the forearm to the thigh, lifting your back heel off the ground. Breathing in as you're opening the arms out to the sides. Bend your back knee, curl up through the spine and hands to the heart. Let's bring the hands down onto the thighs, lifting the back foot off the floor and lengthening the spine forward. Then bring the foot down as you're exhaling and open again into mountain pose. Notice that there might be a lot of shifts and changes, and be that in your mind. Bringing in the count of 4 to lift the arms out and up. Exhaling for a chair pose. Hold your chair, breathing in and twisting the chair to the left when breathing out. Stay here while you're breathing. And on the next out breath, extending or sliding the right foot back into a deeply twisted lunge. We will fly the arms out and up, lifting into a high lunge. And then lowering the heel down, still counting to 4 if you can for warrior 2. Inhaling here. Exhaling as you lower the forearm to the thigh or pointing the fingertips to the floor, arriving in side angle pose. Notice again your ability to maintain the same pace of breathing. And maybe as you're surrendering to this option, you're also noticing that your count sometimes speeds up and slows down. We will release by bending the back knee, swinging the arm down, forearm is resting on the thighs, hands come into prayer. We're lifting the back heel off the floor. Flying the arms out. And then bringing the hands down on top of the thigh. Shifting the weight forward as you might lift your back leg. Lengthening the leg as well as the spine. And then land this back into mountain pose. Turning the palms open, maybe closing the eyes. Surrender to what you can feel and notice that oftentimes the mind, as we're exploring different movements while maintaining potentially just the pace of the breath, goes way off. Might decide, I'm bored, I'm too challenged. As your next inhale, for a count of 4, lift the arms again. Breathing out as you're folding to a count of 4, down into full forward bend. Inhaling as you're lengthening the spine forward, count to 4. And while you're breathing out, walk your feet back into downward facing dog. Breathing in, waving forward into plank or kneeling plank. And on your out breath, lower down. Maybe stay in chaturanga. Maybe you're on the floor coming back into cobra or upward facing dog. On the exhalation, returning to down dog or all fours. Taking a deep breath in for 4, potentially holding for 4, and out for 4. And please do notice if your breath is off or you need that extra breath in between. Don't stress, surrender to the process, not necessarily bringing any force into the body. Walking your hands once more back to your feet. On a breath in now, return to the waterfall movement as you're lengthening your spine forward, and knees can be bent in the length as well. And when exhaling, folding forward. Stay with your counting. Inhaling, lengthen the spine forward. Exhaling to fold. Now, if you're feeling this is just the right thing for you to do, continue. Otherwise, place your hands down, spread your fingers. If you want that little bit extra, start to lift the heels off the ground, bend your knees towards your armpits. And for some, it might be a light shift of the weight forward. For some, it might be a full crow pose or bakasana. And others might want to explore the rocking over the feet and the shifting of the weight, as I am currently demonstrating. So your choice is to still be with the waterfall movement or to have come to an exploration of the crow pose. Stay with it for the length of one more full, slow breath. And then return into standing forward bend. And for those of you playing with the crow, relax the head. Using again pelvic floor, inner strength, lower abs, and exhalation to roll up into standing. Taking your shoulders and move them back and down so you can return into mountain. Inhaling to the count of 4 as your arms are lifting and your right knee. Hands to the heart as you're extending the leg forward. Keep your counting going. Pointing the foot as you're opening the arms and landing on the ball of the foot, the heels lifting off the ground. And as you're breathing out, land only on your back heel, arms by the sides. Lifting as you inhale your right knee again. Hands to the heart and your ankle to the thigh when breathing out. You can stay here or open the arms and slide the foot across for eagle. The right arm winds underneath the left. You can embrace your shoulders again or come into the full posture. Let the shoulders relax and have your gaze either side of your hands if your arms are in the full position. Noticing the quality of your breath here. Don't force anything, only if it comes easy to you. Change the pattern. Let's inhale. Reach the knee up, the arms up. And as you're breathing out, land and release the arms. And you might want to move into the foot, into the hips, or whatever else needs movement. We'll repeat that as you're inhaling, lifting the arms up, we're counting to 4 and the left knee rises. On the out breath, hands to the heart, ankle to the thigh. Same here, a choice to stay there. Or as you next inhale, slide the foot across and open the arms. And as you're breathing out, the left arm underneath the right to wind up. Finding your steadiness. Maybe if the posture itself is quite challenged, you can steady your gaze and your mind. On the next inhalation, lifting the knee and the arms. Flex the foot as you're breathing out, hands to the heart and extending the leg forward. Just simply because I forgot. Let's open and point as you land onto the ball of the foot, landing up on the toes. And we will lower just the back heel and bring the feet together, releasing the arms. Bring a little bit of movement in if required. And I will ask you from here to lower down to sit. Please already prepare yourself for that is to come. We will lead briefly or shortly into Shavasana. So have all the things around you that you need for that. While we extend the left leg out, bring the right foot in. So if the foot doesn't come quite that close, slide it down the leg a little bit. Notice the way you're sitting, and we'll keep it quite natural today, but you might want to walk out through the sit bones. The extended leg can always have a bend in the knee, but please turn your toes upwards. We will return to the count of our breath if it works for you. Inhaling for 4 as we're lifting the arms. Exhaling with the hands to the heart, leading into a forward fold. A breath in to slide the arms out long on the leg and maybe also lengthen the spine. And a breath out to deepen the forward fold. Now I invite you to stay here, counting your breath for a few rounds. Gaze is down, and you can utilize the exhalations to deepen your forward bend. Let the next exhalation be the end of this posture. And as you're breathing in, let your arms slide out and up as you're rising here to sit. And when you're breathing out for 4, turn into a twist, and you might bring your hand to your knee as you're turning. Staying here for a few breaths. Feeling yourself grounded through the sit bones. Inhalation next to 4 as the arms lifting out and up. And exhalation to 4 as you release your fingertips lightly behind. Start to lean the weight back to the sit bones as you bring your feet forward and lift them off the ground. Rest is optional. Inhaling for 4 to lift the arms. Exhaling to bring the hands to the heart while you're changing sides. Place the hands down for a brief moment to walk out through your sit bones and to make the adjustments to the right leg, toes facing upwards. Continue your breath as you're lifting the arms out and up. And on your out breath, hands to the heart and leaning over your right leg. On the inhale, slide the arms out, maybe lengthen your spine. And breathing out to deepen. And then same as on the other side, staying here for a few breaths. Noticing if the surrendering actually works for you or if you are resisting in any way. As you release the pose, reach the arms out and up for the inhalation and twisting for the exhalation, and then pausing within the twist. Shoulders relaxed, we're sitting centered, and breath is still flowing in the same pace. On the next breath in, lifting the arms back out and up. And on the exhalation, placing your fingertips behind. Sliding your feet back in. And this time, inhaling, arms lifting. Exhaling to lower. Releasing the arms down and bringing the knees in. Give them a little squeeze. Your choice of extending the legs and the arms for a breath in. And on the out breath, slowly releasing into Shavasana. And you can go a lot more gentle and bend your knees, step the feet to the ground. Leave the arms open if it's possible. Close the eyes if that's available. If it's challenging, just steady your gaze to the ceiling. Make any last adjustments. Cover yourself up. Pop something underneath the knees or the head or both. And I invite you from there into the stillness where for the first time I discourage you from counting your breath. I would just ask you to keep the breath natural. Maybe your focus remains with the breath though. As you are allowing the stillness to take over, you can choose to stay with that and your breath-centered focus. Or maybe listen to a few words about surrender. This posture is like the state of sleep. And manifestations can take root. Here's a chance for rest and recovery after the challenges, various lessons that have recently been coming your way, and even if you refer just to the practice. Ganesha is offering you the option to retreat into a calm environment, to replenish your energy and regain your composure. Regardless of what you are facing, Ganesha is gently reminding you to surrender this challenge for a while. You can take time for yourself, knowing that when you are ready, the task will be there for you. If you're trying to make a decision or change, it might not be the best time. Give yourself a much needed break and decide once you have a clearer head. As you begin to deepen your breathing without any count, just exploring, you might also feel like moving or stretching a bit. Returning your body, if that feels right for you, into a seated position. Resting the hands down where they feel comfortable. And if you like, you could touch index fingers and thumbs together as you're resting the hands down for better concentration. Steady gaze or eyes shut, noticing that you are comfortable in your seat, yet upright in your spine, that your hands, arms, and shoulders are resting. I will invite you back into the breath to fall in and out. Retention on either side of the breath will be optional, but I will switch on a counter so that you don't have to count. You will hopefully hear very clearly when that happens. Beginning at any time on the first sound. Allow the next breath to be the last. And returning to the natural pace and flow of your breath. Placing the hands together in front of the chest. As we extend our awareness to each other. Namaste.